As a chair, but anyway, welcome to the afternoon session, and I'm Anuradha Chenoy. I teach in JNU, so friends, we start this session, and I'm supposed to speak on gender justice in India. I'm delighted to be here, and delighted to meet all of you. Instead of, because Kirti is going to do the legal framework and speak on specificities, I'm just, I think, going to give a very brief political, feminist gender framework of what we mean by gender justice in India. And I think my first question about gender justice in India, South Asia, world over, or generally about gender justice, is I would like to ask this question: justice from what? And I think it's very clear that when you're looking for justice, when you're looking for gender justice, you have to look for justice from institutional, systemic, formal, non-formal ideas and practices. And I would divide these issues from which we are seeking gender justice and why, from what. Firstly, we want gender justice from patriarchy, because that is the overarching ideology, a universally constructed ideology which denies justice to women. That is the basis of our seeking justice. We want justice from this patriarchy, which is there in base, in superstructure, in relations, in how women are constructed, how women's roles are constructed, how women are conceived, and in all these conceptions, in all these aspects, women are seen as inferior to men, historically, socially, economically, politically, and in every systemic way. And that is what patriarchy is. It is a belief that women, because of their sex, because of their biology, their history and sociology is determined because of their biology. And men, because of their biology, also have predetermined roles. And the roles of women are therefore linked to this biology of reproduction and caring. And from that, an entire construction of gender relations is made, which seeps into institutions, into law, into state, into international relations, and all other aspects of society. Very often, extremely invisibly, because this idea of gender, because this idea that people have of women's roles, of how women are, how women should be, become a kind of common sense. They are part of a common sense which we need to shake and move out. So this is the first thing. But it's not patriarchy alone, because patriarchy intersects with multiple ideologies to make this and keep reinforcing this, this inequality from which we need or we want gender, for which we want gender justice. And one of the most major ideologies within that is the ideology of the nation state itself, of national security. Because that moves our systems today. The fact of the nation. And within the idea of the nation itself, women are constructed in a particular way. Motherhood is given certain attributes, linked to land, linked to emotion, linked for the need to be protected, which in a sense also seem good things, to be protected, to be linked to land, to be linked to emotion. But the other part of it is, and the stronger and more dominant part of it is, that for this, for seeking protection, for being protected, you have to give up your rights to the protector. And then therefore this whole protection racket comes up. You give up your right because you're vulnerable, you should have a veil, you should stay at home, your windows should be barred, your doors should be closed, you should be in private spaces. When a child is born, you should look after. And the relational roles. I will be the protector, I will close the doors, I will decide the laws which veil you, I will decide the doors which enclose you, I will close the windows and stand outside with a gun. So these are these relations which are constructed through, and all these then are endorsed not just in our homes but also then in our communities. And communities become safeguarders of this construction. And then overall, the state takes on this role. So within the state itself, there are these patriarchies. And when we look, when we ask this question that why aren't there equal laws for women and men? Why is it that most countries, women got the right to vote after they struggled, but men got the right to vote more spontaneously? Why is it in our own nationalist movements in South Asia, the women's question on women's rights, inheritance, equal rights in every sphere was said it will come afterwards. Let there be the nation first. Let the state come. Let us first fight against colonialism. And those ideas and those laws which women waited for didn't come until 30, 40, 50, even 60 years later. Because they were not seen to be as important as the laws for men. Linked to this, and especially linked to this, is the whole concept of nationalism itself, which constantly, even 67 years after independence, again, when there is a question of nationalism, it comes to the idea that you can protect your nation, you can maintain your nation primarily through force, and there are all kinds of ideas to give it some kind of legitimacy. And this force is a militarization. So this is a third intersection with patriarchy, national security and militarization, which are all linked, which help in denying women their rights, women their justice, and also not only women, but all along with women then are those who oppose, those who dissent, those who do not reflect the masculinity which is reflected in these three intersecting ideologies of patriarchy, militarism, and xenophobic nationalism. So for each, one cannot just see the women's part of it, you have to see the gender aspect of it, the relational aspect of it, and the other aspect of the masculinity aspect of it. So the next point, therefore, that I'm going to ask is, why do we want gender justice for women? And I think my first answer to why we want gender justice for women is that the simplest one, because women are equal to men in every way, and they may be different in their roles, in their sexual roles, but they are equal in terms of their capability, their thinking, their agency, etc. But they have been denied this and they have been kept backwards. Therefore, even in a place like Harvard University, just 4 years ago, the president of Harvard University, Lawrence Summers, who became advisor to Obama, said that women cannot do science and maths. They drop out. So, the ideology of patriarchy is, the ideology of masculinity is to deny women their rights to think. And this is reinforced by our school textbooks, which show women in the kitchen and men in at the workplace. Just yesterday in someone's house, I heard a nursery rhyme being taught now in a very liberated home, which the little child was thinking, thank you daddy for working all day. which denies the fact that women are also working all day, even if they are at home. So this is reinforced so many times, all the time, that women and men make it part of common sense. You don't even see through this ideology because it is so embedded and so deep in our system. So therefore, why we need gender justice is first because we are equal, but we are not given that equality either in our constitutions, in our laws. And if we are given it in our constitution, we are not given it in our society. Because, for example, the Indian constitution never says that women will not have equal rights. But when it comes to personal laws, there you have it. In the Hindu Code Bill, and Kirti will explain that to you in a much better way, it's coded that women will not have equal rights either in their father's home or in their husband's home. And they've had to fight and struggle through the women's movement to continuously prove that we must have the same rights as our brothers, as our fathers, as our sons, etc. And very often they deny themselves the rights because they say that women, they should be the ones who give. And so you give up on your rights for the sake of your sons, for the sake of your brothers, for the sake of your fathers, for the sake of being protected, etc. And this is also used in a way through different means. And one means of applying injustice is, as I said earlier, through the use of force. And when women are concerned, it is through the use of sexual force, like rape, etc. Or the belief that when a woman says no, she actually means yes. That was very much part of our Bollywood tradition. Ha ha ha, na 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 ha. And that was evident in what happened in JNU just a few days ago when a boy from a language course in Korean was stalking a girl and pestering her to be his friend, and she said no. And he came to the classroom with a hammer, a pistol, a knife and a bottle of sulfur, and he broke her skull and consumed poison because he said, if you don't listen to me and say yes, then neither you should live nor I should live. So he died, he committed suicide, and she is struggling still for her life in Safdarjung Hospital. Why? But she was not a passive victim because she said no. She had the courage to say no, but still she didn't have the courage to go to the Gender and Sexual Harassment Committee, because going to that committee means that your reputation will be spoiled. And for someone else, even if the constitution ensures you your right, there will be a Khap Panchayat saying, no, you cannot marry the person you like. You have to marry the person of the caste we choose, the one your father chooses, your community chooses. Otherwise, you will be killed. And IDWA, for example, has done huge amounts of work on this Khap Panchayat. And I myself sat on a